Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to cover how to make over six figures as a network engineer. So if you guys don't know, I started off my career working at an ISP making 75K per year, and then I worked my way up to make well over six figures working at a data center. So now let me cover exactly how to do this because a lot of people make mistakes. They think network engineering, you can't make over six figures. You definitely can, but there is a lot of factors that you guys also have to know. For example, your location, and this is the biggest factor I want everyone to know about. If you're not based in the United States, I cannot give you any answers because from my understanding, the United States pays the most out of anywhere in the entire world for network engineering positions. That's just from my understanding. So if you're outside the US, I'm pretty sure you can in some markets, but I'm just going to be talking about the United States market. Now, within the United States, there is still a discrepancy between pay. If you're in Seattle and if you're in Texas, the pay is going to be different because the cost of living is way more in Seattle than it is in Dallas. Right. And that's just a fact. And then companies pay based off cost of living as well. Right. So that's something you have to know when it comes down to that. So it's very dependent on your location. Right. I'm based in Denver, Colorado, which is a mid to high-ish cost of living. So it does pay quite well, higher than the US national average. Okay. So now going into how to make over six figures. Right. The first thing you have to know is you have to go to where the money's at. You have to go to where the money's at. And the money's at data centers, the money's at ISPs, the money's at large companies, right? Those companies tend to pay the most. Right? If you're working for like an MSP or like a very small company, they tend to pay less because they don't have the money sometimes to be able to pay you more. And it's a logical thing, right? Because if you're going to work for a business, one of the things that people forget about is businesses have to pay you, and you being an employee is an expense for the business. And with that being said, they're going to pay based off of what they can afford or what they can justify for their business, right? As opposed to a bigger company, they have much more pockets. Obviously, they have a lot more customers, and they have revenue coming from all over places. They're fine with paying you more because obviously per employee, they make a lot of money. And you want to look at places like data centers or other places that have large infrastructure that pay more, right? So that can be dependent on your location too, and that may mean you relocating, right? If you're in a very, very small town, like a very small town, and obviously you're not going to see those six-figure marks because it's unrealistic because the business itself can't afford to even pay you that much, right? Obviously, you can look for remote as well, but obviously remote is not as common as on-site positions when it comes to network engineering. Okay, so the next thing you want to focus on is once you've decided on where you want to work, right, and you've decided that maybe relocating makes the most sense if you want to make more money as a network engineer, the next thing you have to focus on is obviously what skills do you have currently, right? So it is possible to make six figures as your first network engineering position or your first tech position in general. I've seen that happen, but it's not as common as people think. The most realistic way is you're probably going to have to get some IT experience somewhere, either as a network administrator, engineer, technician, right, to somewhere before you can get to that like six-figure level. And that can be in any other tech field. You can get a general IT technician position that in some places can pay quite well, like 60, 70K per year, and then start there. And then after a couple of years or even even a year of you getting some experience, then you can potentially move up and get that higher paying field. And one thing I'm saying is moving up. So moving up means job hopping, right? It doesn't mean moving up within the company, because moving up within the company, although it is possible, it is much, much slower because you're dependent on one particular company to potentially hire you when there's a lot of other companies all over your city that are hiring network engineers. So why are you kind of tying yourself to one organization when you can move up to multiple different companies in your city that would pay you more? Right. And I've seen this time and time again where they'll promote someone and then let's say someone starts at like 80K and then promote them and they only get like a 5K raise. So they go from 80K to 85K. And then someone who is, let's just say, I don't know, let's just say this person is coming from a different company. For that same position, they'll pay that person 95K. So that same person that got promoted got 85. The new person gets 95. And then obviously people say that's unfair, but that's just how they do things sometimes, right? So if you're at a company, sometimes you're actually staying within the company, although there's benefits to that, which I'll get to in another video. The problem with that is that your pay will be less. So job hopping makes the most sense. So if you want to make more money, you're gonna have to be comfortable job hopping, and job hopping is uncomfortable. You're learning new tools. You have new employees, new managers, new systems, brand new company, right? You're pretty much starting from the bottom in terms of the seniority, but your pay is higher. So there is you got to weigh that balance and decide, is it worth it for you, right? At my old company, my manager would always tell me, like, I can leave and make way more money, but I like the systems. I like how my team is. I've been here for over 15 years. So he was comfortable staying within that company, which makes the most sense. And I understand that, right? People want stability. People want, something that they can just rely on. Like it's much more relaxed as opposed to moving up, and that can be a lot more stressful, a lot more potentially riskier, depending on the company, right? Because if you leave the company that you're in, you go to a new company, and they happen to ever do layoffs, they like to lay off the newest people because they haven't been trained yet, and they're not as profitable for the business yet when you're new. So that's why they would do that. So that's just one con with that. But now getting into skills, right? A lot of people say, what skills should I get? Here's the thing. Skills are very, 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 very important. But what you have to do is what value can you bring to the organization? Because people or companies pay you based off the value that you bring. And if you're not bringing enough value, then obviously why would they hire you, right? They're not doing donation. They're hiring you based off they're hiring because of the potential work that you can do for them, which obviously brings them money, right? You work for a business or whatever, you have to bring some sort of value. And the way you can bring value is when you're interviewing, right? When you're actually interviewing, instead of talking about your skills, talk about what you've done and how you can help the organization based off the projects they're potentially doing during the interview. And then they're going to be like, okay, this person actually knows what he's talking about. And then during that, just saying that during your interview, when you're actually doing the negotiation, they're going to say, hey, you know what? This person is actually a valued person to the organization. Let's actually see what we can do and actually potentially hire this person. So that's one area that a lot of people forget about is what value can you bring? And you want to decide on that per organization when you're interviewing. That's a huge thing that a lot of people forget about. Now, the next thing you want to focus on is niching down within whatever area in networking you want to get into. Obviously, network technicians are working at a data center tech, doing the physical hardware stuff like cabling, all that stuff. That doesn't pay as much. I mean, I've seen people like I know a guy. He got a 6-figure job at Google working at the physical data center as a data center tech in a sense, right? That is possible, but like I said, he works at a massive organization, right? The thing is, if you want to make 6 figures as a network engineer, you're going to have to get into more mid-level to senior roles, right? And to get into those mid-level senior roles, you're going to have those certifications. Let's say you got your CCNA, get your first network engineering job. Like I said, you could make 6 figures just right off the bat, but let's say you don't. The next thing you could do is get your CCMP, right? That's one area that a lot of people would focus on is getting your CCMP. That is a very good thing to think about doing. But you don't really need that to get to that next level. Right. You can get to a mid-level senior role just from your experience from your previous job and just doing labs, right? And you want to do more labs, and I would do more labs on packet tracer, but I would also do some more on GNS3, and I would actually do more specialized labs, right? And you want to do more specialized labs that actually network engineers do on the job. Obviously, learn the system that we use, learn the ticketing systems, learn how to use SolarWinds, learn how to use Wireshark, learn how to use monitoring tools like MRTG or CAPM. You got to learn how to use those softwares. That way, when you go into when you're actually going to the interview, obviously you can explain those things that you've done, but you can see but I want you guys to start doing what mid-level and senior engineers actually do, which is very high-level troubleshooting. Because here's the thing, troubleshooting, if you get really good at troubleshooting, you're a valuable asset to the company because you are putting out fires. Putting out fires is something that, like I said, people pay to fix any pain, right? That's why doctors get paid so much money is because they're solving painful problems. Right. So being able to solve painful problems is super important. So get really, really good at troubleshooting. Do a ton of troubleshooting labs, complex routing issues, static routing issues, BGP issues, OSPF issues, troubleshooting spanning tree, understanding root bridge, understanding port channels, understanding the complexities of firewalls and ACLs and why sometimes traffic is not going through the ACL, why it is. Learning all those things is super important, but at a very high level that an organization would really want. Once you've done that, then at that point, you're just going to have to start applying for roles that pay over 100K. It's that simple, guys. Like if you want to make over 100K, you should only apply for roles that pay that much, right? And that may not, even if your city doesn't have jobs that pay that much, then obviously you have to go somewhere else, right? That there's no other solution for that besides doing that. So you relocating would be the only reasonable option. And if you're not okay with relocating and you're in a small town, like I said, there's nothing you can do. But once you start applying for roles that pay more, you're going to be interviewing, and that may be putting yourself out of your comfort zone. And being out of your comfort zone is completely fine. Completely fine to be out of your comfort zone. When I got my first job, right, I was making 75K per year as a network engineer. Before that, I wasn't really making much, right? I was pretty much just working regular jobs, right? Just like working at the airlines, working security, and I wasn't really making that much money. But now going from that to my first ever job as a network engineer, that puts you in an uncomfortable situation, right? And that's completely fine. That's completely fine. But the question is, are you cool with being uncomfortable? If you're not cool with being uncomfortable, you moving up in positions is actually going to be, you're not going to be able to move up in positions because you're always uncomfortable. And that's a huge, huge con that a lot of people do is that they're afraid of doing that. So it's okay take a deep breath. It's totally fine to not be to be afraid of that, but just know that to move up, you have to be willing to take that risk, or be willing to be uncomfortable, or be willing to relocate. Because the best people that I realize is the ones who actually are serious. They're like, I'll do whatever it takes to move up in my career. If that means moving out of my city, if that means going to a new company, or meeting a new team, or learning a new skill, or maybe even practicing your social, your interpersonal skills by maybe even taking classes, maybe going to Toastmasters, be able to speak better. Speaking is another thing that a lot of people forget about. I read a stat that your skills, or your if you improve your social skills, that increases your salary by 30%. That is the highest thing you can do out of any skill set. Any skill set. So you might as well learn how to speak better, because if you can speak better, people will hire you based off how well you speak. Because when you're working on the job, most of the time, most of the stuff that you're doing on the job is actually speaking with team members, speaking with vendors, speaking with coworkers, right? Speaking with customers. So you have to be able to speak. You hop on bridge calls when you're troubleshooting. You have to be able to explain the situation to non-technical people, right? If you can't do that, then what value do you bring, right? Because you work in a team, you want to be able to speak with the people, right? We live in a society where you have to talk to people. That's something that you have to get good at, right? Does it suck if you're not good at it? Yeah. I used to hate talking to people. I used to hate doing that, but you have to get better at it, because that's the economy that we live in. That's how it is, right? When you're interviewing, when you're negotiating, a lot of people are afraid to negotiate. Why are you afraid to negotiate, right? Because you either haven't done it before, you haven't practiced it, or you don't have trust in yourself that you're that valuable, right? And also when you're speaking during the interview, they can see the value you're bringing, right? And then obviously when you go through negotiation, you're not gonna have any issues negotiating your salary, right? And negotiating your salary can be easily done, right? Literally it's so simple. Just ask for more money. That's it. It's just a simple ask, right? And that can increase your salary by $10,000 a year, 20, right? It just depends. And if you're afraid to ask, right, because of what if they say that, what if they say this, right? If they were going to rescind your offer because you asked for a little bit more, then obviously, is that a good place you want to work at? And that's something you want to ask, right? So don't be afraid to negotiate. That's another thing that a lot of people forget about. If you do all those things, you get the right skills, you focus on troubleshooting, right? All those things. I know you thought this video was probably going to be all technical, like learn BGP or learn this. But guys, it really doesn't matter. What matters is obviously you want to pick a niche as well. If you're going to do security, to focus on network security. If you're going to do firewall, focus on firewall. If you're going to focus on cloud, or SD-WAN. Focus on obviously one area. That's going to help a lot, because like I said, specialists are better than generalists, but you guys would already know that. The main thing is follow everything I told you in this video, and it is possible, right? But the big thing I want you guys to know, it's all company dependent. Does the company have money? If the company has no money, then they can't pay you. Number two is location dependent. If you're in a small town, obviously unrealistic, right? And number three, improving your social skills, all that stuff, and everything else I said in the video. So if you guys found this helpful, give it a like. If you also guys are interested in mentorship and want to become a network engineer, I have a program. Click the link in the description if you're interested in that. But besides that, guys, I really appreciate you guys' viewership. Like I said, if you guys like the video, give it a like. If you guys want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. But I appreciate all you guys' time, and I hope all you guys have a good rest of your day, and peace.